Before we talk about modern AI, start with one old question. Could a brain be described like a circuit? This video is about the McCulloch and Pitts paper and why it matters. Their move was simple but radical. Treat firing neurons as logical you can and then calculate. That is the beginner map for this specific shot. In 1943, Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts proposed a specific solution with a simplified on and off neuron. They were not building ChatGPT and they were not modeling every detail of the biology. They were asking a cleaner foundational question. If neurons follow fixed rules, what kind of ideas, decisions, and computations can a network represent? The power is only the abstraction. The key assumption is the all or none law, meaning a neuron fires or stays silent. No half message matters in the model. Each moment, the neuron is either 1 or 0, true or false, active or inactive. That binary simplification is the door to the logic. It is not full biology, but it is very useful. The next part is very important, which is threshold, the minimum input needed to fire. You imagine several signals arriving together. If enough arrive within a tiny window, the neurons fire on the next step. If not, it stays quiet. The exact chemistry is ignored, so the structure becomes very visible. This is the model of decision, not what. They also include inhibitory synapse, a connection that blocks firing. That matters because logic needs negation. A neuron can now say in effect fire when A and B arrive but not C. That single is not possible. The time is the specific part of the model. A synaptic delay is one time step between input and output. Signals do not cause instant consequences. They move from one layer to another layer of neurons to the next tick by tick, so a network can encode sequences, not also just static snapshots. The cause and effect become ordered and not blurred. Here is a big translation one should understand, which is called propositional logic. Is true or false reasoning. McCulloch and Pitts say a neuron firing can stand for a proposition being true. The statement might be this stimulus occurred, this condition is met, or this downstream idea is now asserted. The paper called this specifical correspondence to the calculus. With that translation, small neural circuits become logical gates. Two excitatory inputs can behave, or a higher threshold can behave, and excitation becomes inhibitive, can behave and or not. The biology is abstracted, but the logical relationships are precise. These are the building blocks of the digital. For nets without feedback loops, the behavior can be solved forward. Inputs at earlier times determine later firings. The paper calls the formulas temporal propositional expressions, logical formulas with time steps. To say it in a simple English, the network becomes a time-indexed truth table. No loop means no unresolved memory. The reverse result is just as important. It is not only that a net can be described by logic. Under these conditions, many logical expressions can be built, which are as neural networks. So, the paper gives the both directions here. That is a theorem of construction, which is not actually a decoration here. A useful analogy is a row of lamps wired through the switches. The lamps are not thinking by magic. Their pattern is follows wiring rules. And McCulloch and Pitts make the same point with the neurons. If you know the net and the current state, you can compute the next state. Here, the rules also stays visible. Then comes the hard case, which is a feedback. A cyclic net is a neuron with loops. Activity can return to where it started and keep reverberating. That means the present may depend on an indefinitely long past. Suddenly, the network has a primitive kind of the memory. This is where the history starts to matter. They even discuss learning, but not as modern gradient descent. Learning appears as a changing structure, such as new synapses or as an equivalent feedback circle. So, do not confuse this with a today's trainable neuron network. This is a logical skeleton, not a statistical learning. It explains behavior by changing the net itself. The deepest ending here, you should remember, is about computability. What a machine actually can calculate. They connect neural nets to the Turing machine, an abstract computer model. With the right tape, scanners, and outputs, such nets compute exactly with the classical boundary of mechanical computation. That is why the paper still echoes in computer science. So the payoff is this. One model showed how nervous activity, Boolean logic, feedback memory and computation could fit in one formal language. It was incomplete biology, but a very powerful idea. This is a bridge worth remembering. If this made a neural logic click, hit like and follow so we learn one beautiful thing together every day. Thank you.